1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Robert Walsh. A chilly day for the Titans as they take on the Packers in Lambeau. Weather report reinforces that as the temp should be around 15 degrees by kickoff. That kickoff in question is at 7:15, and the League Company countdown to kickoff starts at 4 o'clock. Injuries are aplenty in the Badger State as Ben Jones, Amani Hooker, Bud Dupree, Lonnie Johnson, and kicker Randy Bullock are all out, leaving Josh Lambeau to take over the kicking duties at Lambeau. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. It is Thursday. It is Titans game day.
Woo! Yes! Yeah. Tighten up. Let's go.
You were the lit man today.
Yeah,
I
that's
can
what
see
happened.
that you're lit.
Well, that's because Bert and Robert actually got my aquarium out right here, and so I brought it in and put it in the studio. So, yeah, man, we'll set out a picture so everybody can see where Bert helped me bring my aquarium in here. So
a lot of different fish, man. You're doing it.
So, Bert said he'd clean it for me and everything. So we got it up and running. So this is cool, man. We just added it to the new studio. Yeah.
You got all kind of fish. I didn't even expect
Robert.
You to have that many fish in there, Blaine.
I sit here all this time, been sitting here for like an hour and a half, and I have no headphones, so I can't hear anything you say.
well, that's good then. I won't talk about all the injuries the Titans have sustained coming into the game tonight.
You nervous about the injuries, Bert? You seem like the type of guy, you like a team, you're going to get real nervous if things don't seem to be.
Oh,
you're
Bert,
outspoken about your nerves and your the things that scare you, spook you.
Oh, you seem like a real we got him.
I'm not going to lie.
You nervous? Who are you nervous about?
See, and that's what I wanted to ask you guys. I know Blaine can't hear me. Mickey, reestablished
yesterday I had no headphones. Today, look at me. Professional radio broadcaster.
Oh,
Mom,
I'm professional. I got you now. I'm ready to go.
He got me now.
Mickey, I've been sitting here since 11:45.
And that's what I wanted to ask you guys. Which one of these injuries worry you the most? Which one of these injuries can affect the game the most? Because I think it's easy to say Amani Hooker or Bud Dupree because they're stars.
Nope. I know where he's going. No.
I lean on the Ben Jones side. The guy's only missed 2 games in his entire career. He's at the front of your rushing attack. He's the smartest guy on the offensive line. I think this offensive line is going to miss him, especially on a game like today where it's going to be chilly. It would learn itself to you to run the ball more. I think they're going to miss Ben Jones the most.
Ooh, and I'm leaning right there with you, but I'm leaning and tick-tocking back to Lambeau because they're playing Lambeau. So who's the kicker? Because we all know if the Titans play a close game, which they always do, if they're going to have a chance of winning, the kicker means a lot to them, and he has no room for error. So I'm saying the kicker is probably – Ben Jones would have been, but I just feel like this is going to be a close game, low scoring, cold weather, whatever quarterback and kicker has the best day is going to win. And we don't know what to expect. The kicker has been kicked and he does kick.
But he hasn't kicked in a while.
Wow.
Week 3 of last year.
So I'm nervous. I'm right there with you though. Ben Jones is a staple to the offensive line, running the football, making calls with the offense. He's probably more valuable, but in critical moments, the kicker he's going to have to stand up and rise and take on all that pressure of making it like it's nothing.
And he's kind of an unknown, too, because, when's the last time we saw this guy kick? He missed a handful of extra points and a couple of field goals, and that's why he was out on the street in the first place. Before that, he was a pretty efficient kicker before he had that stint of missing extra points and field goals. He wasn't bad, but you wonder how quickly he can pick that up with a new special teams unit and figure it out in, I would argue, one of the tougher places to kick. Lambeau, it's freezing, man. That ball has got to feel like a rock.
Boom. Yeah, so that's probably where I'm going. I mean, but Ben Jones, man, you could say he's really like the heart and soul of the team.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fair.
Yeah, I mean so that's gonna hurt. But eventually, you want to be grappling there in the cave with all these bears down in the trenches. So whoever I don't know what direction they go. Are they going? We have no idea. Corey Levin at center, or do they decide to go move Brewer to center and put our man Dylan Radins at guard.
Dun, dun, dun.
See? So they have options. I just don't know what they may be thinking or doing. I'm not at their practices. I haven't seen anything. No one's told. So I have no idea. If it was me, but I know they may want to play a second rounder. I'm just plug and play, man. 11, go, let's go.
Are you guys, and I don't want to
They may want to see Brewer at center just because, hey, man, this may be it for Ben Jones and say, hey, man, we got a chance to see him here, and this is maybe how our line may look, and still use Radins at guard.
Mm-hmm.
See? Or 11.
And I don't want to hijack y'all's show, but do you guys enjoy or not enjoy? What would you prefer as an offensive line when you have a guy like that go out? Do you just want to put his backup in? Or like you said, would you rather slide in the highest rated player you have and shuffle the offensive line around and potentially mess up the flow and groove they get in as an offensive line?
I know.
We always talk about this.
I know.
Like, do you
I
break
go back
something
and
else
forth
to fix this thing?
Yeah. It depends on how the backup, how good I really. Now, if I believe he on most teams would be a starter, I'm going with that guy. I don't care. But if it's a guy that's borderline and like, it doesn't really matter either way we go, I'm gonna just plug and play. And I don't know what they think, and I don't know enough about the offensive lineman. There's a part of me, I want to see Dylan Radins play just because he was a high draft pick and see if he can continually grow and develop. But when you hear Vrabel talk about him when he's played this season, like he's just done an okay job. And that's not saying that he can't potentially, but he's not acting as though I see potential here where this guy, it didn't make you feel all cuddly and fuzzy that, this guy's going to be potentially our guy, next year at guard. So I don't know what they're thinking. They may also want to keep Levin as a rotational guy where he's the center and a guard as a backup. And they want to go with some guys that, that they believe in, that's been in games this season. That's where you have to lean on your offensive line coach and the head coach of making that decision and what works well and how they work as a unit. Because to me, the offensive line, I'm not a big proponent when everybody's mixing and matching during the preseason. I'm like, man, how can you get into a rhythm and a flow of working with a guy? These guys all have to work in unison together because if one guy messes up, it can destroy the play. So I love, chemistry. I'm a big proponent as a player at all positions about chemistry. And that's why I said Byard's been out there playing with all these different players. Oh, man, that would have worn me ragged. I'm up here talking to a guy about stuff we done 50 billion times. He telling me, he's going to do it this way and this is what he's thinking. No, man. Have you been listening to us the whole time? Have you been watching the film? Bro, I should not be having this conversation. And I'm looking at him like, no, but that's not what we're going to do. That's not what we're going to do. We haven't been doing that, so why would we do that? So, and it's just the little nuances of the game because things happen fast. So we can't have those discussions in the game. We got to have all these discussions in practice, on the field, on the side. When somebody motions over and it comes to be trips, now we're going to go, we're going to match up. Or you go up to the line and you get the online guy and we're going to in and out it. I need to know that beforehand that you know that because I don't want to run across and you looking at me like, hey, man, I'm going to do that. No, that's wrong. So then I hesitation, boom, molding, and boom, touchdown. Can't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it.
You're playing a quarterback tonight, too, who can make you pay for any type of hesitation or mistake.
Yeah, I mean, he
makes every throw.
Best in the business. He still can make every throw. Probably the only thing that's changed is his mobility, but he's still mobile. I mean, so that he beats you with his arm. I mean, precision. Is he going to be lit and pumped up about, how well they played last week? And can he get back-to-back? And can their Watson, their deep threat rookie, hold on to the ball, make some more catches? And he's fast, and fast guys going to still be fast, even though it's cold, because he's still faster than everybody else. I think he ran a 4.2 or something. He's fast. This is the guy that I coveted in the draft. I said you can teach somebody how to catch. You can't pay for speed, and he's shown finally maybe he's getting it. I still don't like the way he's catching the ball. It's just not fluid, but he's getting production, so we'll see if he can do that again, especially with hopefully Fulton back, who's another big cog in this. And Molden seems like he's on the right track, that he'll be back out there. It seems as though that is. We'll be out without Hooker, so as well as Johnson. See? So, yeah, I mean, one more guy go down, boop, we're always in another little trouble. We only got one guy on the bench. If you're talking about two, see, depth. So that's why you got to have an awesome front four.
Yeah.
Because that makes the DB's job easier, without question. We can talk about how great our secondary's been doing, but in my mind, it's all because of the front four. And I'm not taking nothing away from the corners who've done a solid job, but if they had an average front four, they would just be average, probably corners in this league.
Large Jeff looks to be trending towards playing tonight after missing Sunday.
Someone told me he I think it's off his IG. Go ahead, Bert.
Yeah. He every game he posts this picture of a bloody lion that he's going to play. He'll put it on his IG story. And the last week when he was out, he put up a picture of a lion sleeping. This week, he's back to the lion covered in blood
on his face.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw the post. And I was like, what? Dude.
Okay.
Dude, I've been on a couple radio shows this week, and I've said, and I had to correct myself a little bit because I was going a little too far. Big Jeff is right up there, under Aaron Donald. And they pause and go, Aaron Donald? I said, well, I'm going to say this. He's in the group that's right under there, and he should be paid accordingly, whether it's with the Titans or not. I said, this guy is different. He's special. He's got all the traits of a blue-collar guy with A1 5-star talent.
Wow.
I said, and that is, you just cannot measure people like that. This guy is different. I said, he talks smack. He is a force. And, oh, by the way, he would not only wreck shop and be in your backfield, whether it's for pass or run, watch him running down the field and go hit some of these running backs and receivers. That's the part that scares you. Go like, ooh, this dude is different. Like, I've seen some dudes at D-Town. All right, we could warrant that. We could talk about him off the field, but on the field, this dude was a dog. Mm-hmm. I don't recall him running downfield like Jeff and making plays 15 yards down the field. I would put him up there in the elite category with Aaron Donald and all those guys. I just didn't see it. I didn't see it. Now, pass rush, running, your run game, he was definitely elite. It was pretty fascinating. He was like, and that's kind of how Big Jeff, yeah, he's like a fullback with size and quickness like a fullback. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like with quickness and power and size. I mean, it's just, I say, hey, man, I have to make this statement so you guys know, because y'all have asked me all these questions about everything else, Tannehill, the King, no receivers, no number one receiver and all that. Right. I said, I just got to say, Big Jeffy, I need to watch this guy tonight. Big Jeffrey Simmons is a special, special player.
Big Jeff also knows that Big Jeff would like a new contract, and Big Jeff also knows this is national, international TV.
He's about to make a statement.
Big Jeff is ready to make a statement. This tells me Big Jeff's like, wait a second, who's watching tonight? And his agent goes, everybody. Oh, I'm going to post a picture of a bloody lion then because it's about to be going down.
So he's been doing this every week?
Apparently, yeah. Every week that he's going to play on the day, bloody lion.
Yeah, this dude's he's a dog. And I know everybody makes fun of me, and I said we got the King and we got the Kong. And it's all the jokes aside, but, I mean, this guy is different, man. I mean, when he wrecked shop at practice that day, who were they scrimmaging? Tampa Bay? Who was it? They couldn't stop him, whoever it was.
That's the Bucs. When he yelled at all of them.
Yeah, okay.
Like
that is abnormal. That's like stuff that you do in high school and college, and you know you the best player. Nobody's going to stop me. And you tell everybody, and they already know, but you tell them. That gets scary. You scaring grown men.
Isn't it crazy?
He's intimidating grown men.
On both sides of the ball, they have a guy that's like, you know exactly what I'm going to do. Stop me.
You can't stop me. Yeah, then the King.
Yeah, he yelled that at all the Bucs. Next day, they just didn't let him practice.
No, the coaches had to take him out.
And they just take him out. There's too much going on.
Well, there's also a fear when you're on his side and you're the coach. You're like, they may try to double team him. Because dudes are going to be like, hey, man, they went back and watched the film, as I said.
Got embarrassed.
And they got embarrassed. And they say, hey, man, you're a grown 300-pound man. And he not only threw you, he threw the other guy.
Yep.
So y'all going to let somebody do that to you in practice? Ooh, they probably didn't even sleep that night. They probably went and had a couple drinks and said, hey, this is what we going to do. Yeah, we about to high-low this dude, and he ain't never been before. And there was a couple times it kind of almost happened, and old Vrabel got a little nervous. Jeff, get out.
Right.
Get out because you are causing too much trouble around here because they're going to try to get you.
Yep.
And they was trying to in a nice way, but there ain't no nice way about it. But they were, let me act like I'm not doubling, but I'm going to get him. He talking too much smack and is dominating too much. And guess what? Kong is strong. Yep.
Why
Hey.
don't we do this? When we come back, we'll help you make some strong plays on this Thursday Night Football with Chelsea Messenger of the Daily Tip. Yeah, get your wallet out. We'll try to put some money in it next on Blaine and Mickey.
Better leave that dude alone.
So start NFL Week 11 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Look, it doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel. If you've already got an account, you're going to get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. Like I like the under tonight in Cold Green Bay, like the Titans and the points. Also like Derrick Henry over receiving yards. Maybe one screen could get him that number. Build your own, though, or choose one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. You just got to sign up with the promo code Mickey if you don't already have an account. Again, promo code Mickey. If you've got an account on FanDuel, you're all set. Just sign in and see what's going on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You'd have to be 21 or older, present in Tennessee, 3-leg parlay minimum. Minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets. Expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet is $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Chelsea Messenger should be joining us soon as we check in with the host of the Daily Tip. And
whenever I think she said she may be busy at 1:30.
Okay, all right. No, she's going to join us at 1:30 then.
Maybe. We'll see if she comes.
In the meantime, in between time, I can't hear anybody say in the meantime now without immediately in my head finishing that statement in between time. Anyone who says it anywhere.
It's like the song where somebody's like, it's been. Anytime someone says it's been, I think about it's been 1 week since I looked at you, you know.
Okay. Well,
I saw those guys in concert. They were on tour with Hootie a few years ago.
And the Blowfish?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I saw
what
that.
a weird
happy
matchup.
I knew the name.
Well, no, I mean, it made sense at the time.
Really?
It made sense. Hootie, and it was like Hootie. It was Hootie and the Blowfish, not Darius Rucker. My friend actually plays for Darius, my friend Gary Murray. This was Hootie and the actual freaking Blowfish, and they went and toured and like filled up arenas again.
Who sings that? Is that Bare Naked Ladies?
Yeah, Bare Naked Ladies, and they were funny, and I mean it was a good show. I was never like a big '90s rock alternative type of guy, but the show was just all hits. It was just a fantastic show.
All right, I'm trying to go back and forth. Who knows more music, you or him? I'm starting to figure out Berta, man. He knows not only fish, but he also knows music. So
maybe he knows music by fish.
I know PHISH fish. Yeah, the music fish.
That's also
okay.
fantastic
See,
Ben and Jerry's flavor, by the way, fish food.
Really?
Oh yes,
That's your favorite? I always go with I can't. I think it's like the talk. It's a Jimmy Kimmel flavor or a Conan flavor, something like that. It's like a caramel something. They have millions of flavors.
I've become violently lactose intolerant in middle age.
That's so
I
unfortunate.
have like
Fish
2
food.
spoonfuls. Fish food, yeah. Have you had it?
Huh? No.
No? Fish food ice cream, Ben and Jerry's.
We gotta
man,
get you
it's so
some.
good.
No, I have not.
Bruce,
I may go by it tonight, bro. It's a little chilly willy though. I don't know. I
no,
guess
trust me, you wouldn't even care. You'd sit on the couch and you'd eat it. And I know you've been eating like kale and peanuts dipped in
I know, man. It's
protein powder and whatever.
I just now I can see my neck.
Hey, no lie. Everybody's
was like,
gassing up Buck for losing so much weight. Blaine has looked incredible the last few
man,
weeks.
It's amazing, man. Just eating habits, man. It's just crazy. Yep. But I broke down today and went to the twice daily and got me a donut. Yep.
Gas station donut, huh?
Yeah.
That's what broke you?
Yeah, today. I had too much time on my hands. See? It's like, oh man. Did you see how early I got here? I told you I've been in the studio for an hour and a half, didn't have my headphones.
Okay.
But I had another meeting and I was like, oh man, it's too early. It's 11 o'clock. I can't go all the way back to Franklin and then come back out here.
I will say though,
And
you
I
get
didn't
into
need no
twice
gas.
daily.
I intentionally went in there to get a donut down here in downtown, and they have some.
They have
best,
a
and I could only
donut
buy one,
case.
so
I
I was
know.
good. I was only one, and they only had one left.
Oh, it was God telling you, here's one. Now
yep.
get on your way. John says, treat yourself in the Zone TV chat.
Yeah, it's good. I try to do that on the weekend, treat myself.
You have cheat meal?
Yeah, treat. Yeah, that's for sure.
You want to see cheat meals? Follow The Rock on Instagram.
Oh, I was watching this thing about his XFL, the draft and everything.
You want to watch the
Last night.
XFL?
Oh, I got so enamored with his
his
guns. I was like, dang, boy, what is he doing? I was like, I don't want to look like that. That's uncomfortable.
He is, and he's like,
You know that guy can't scratch his shins.
I
Like if
remember
he
when
had to scratch something, he'd have to hire
he's
somebody
50
else.
years
Watch
old,
it,
too.
Watch
I
this.
mean-
If I put a piece of tape in the middle of his back, he couldn't get it off. He couldn't get it off. He'd be like, oh, get that. No.
okay.
Big old back. He can't even get it off.
Okay, where did this test come from? I'd never heard this. You and me were sitting here yesterday, and we were talking about lifting weights, talking about your son lifting weights,
I
and
don't
you're
know.
like, man, he's getting swole. His shoulders are getting real thick. He goes, if I put a piece of tape in the middle of his back, I don't know if he can get it anymore. I was like, when did that become a test for like, you're too swole, man?
Oh,
Can't
he
get
think I'm
tape off
crazy
your
too.
back.
Then I sent him a whole bunch of shoulder exercises to do to make sure he had flexibility. So he did them and videoed himself, sent them back to me.
Did
Yeah,
you
he
say
could.
get the piece of tape?
Well, yeah, yeah. He definitely said he could get it. So yeah. You don't want to get too big where you can't move. Yeah, that happened to me. That's why I said these things. These happen. Oh, I'm gonna get rocked up. I got in the league my first year. I was like, man, I gotta get bigger and stronger. Well, I got so big, I could run straight, but we all know things don't just run right at you. So I was like, whoa, hey, where you go, buddy? Like, dang, I need to. I got maybe a little too big. Yeah, well, it looked good, but all I cared about was the result. So I had to slim right back where I was.
I told you about
205.
that summer that I discovered creatine. They were selling it at GNC. And I was like, I'm going to take this stuff. I'm going to lift weights. I lost 3 pounds that summer.
He didn't gain, he lost.
I lost 3 pounds. I still have a friend who every time I see him, he's like, hey, man, how's that creatine treating you?
Yeah, man.
Boy, if it helped me lose 3 pounds, I might take it again.
Yeah.
I could use that.
I don't think I've ever taken creatine and I lost weight.
Lost weight on creatine. Titans and Packers tonight, of course, that's here on the Zone. Amani Hooker ruled out. Ben Jones ruled out. Bud Dupree, Randy Bullock, Lonnie Johnson. All this happened. So we were talking about who might play center, and Chelsea Messenger will join us in a minute or two. Corey Levin is the backup center. Josh Lambo looks like he'll be the kicker. So if Corey Levin...
Lambeau Field.
Lambeau at Lambeau, which, by the way, I did a hit in Jacksonville. They thought that was the greatest thing. They're so excited that he might be the kicker. They're fascinated by Lambeau.
How do they think he'll do, though? That's all I care about. I don't know Lambeau.
I don't think they know. They're just fascinated that he got another chance.
Oh, yeah, because he is suing the league or Jacksonville to a certain extent, right? Okay.
So
I thought it got dismissed and like he's getting another round to, I guess, sue him in a different way.
Oh, I don't know.
Never
I
seen
need
that before.
Check up on his legal history now and see where all that
Somebody
is.
tweeted that. I don't know if that was true or not.
I don't know if there are odds on that, but if there were, Chelsea Messenger would know them. And she joins us now at Chelsea Messenger, host of the Daily Tip. So Chelsea is a Gallatin native. We know that she's a Titans fan. We always ask you about the Thursday game, Chelsea. Well, tonight you get the Titans on Thursday Night Football. You're one of these people that's an expert. You're telling people what to do. How do you keep from letting your heart take over and taking money out of your wallet here?
Yeah, that's why I don't bet on the Titans
in
any way. Because here's the thing, as a handicapper, a lot of people go by the numbers and the metrics and these trends, but the Titans defy all of those. So it's really hard as a handicapper to put your finger on why the Titans are winning games. And I'm sure you guys have heard this conversation before. So it's really hard for me to sit here and make a good case for the Titans as underdogs here, just because I don't know. It's just, at what point do the injuries mount, and at what point does another opposing quarterback who can really air it out get the best of the secondary? Because I think that's the bad matchup for the Titans is the Titans, a team that has allowed a ton of yards through the air, giving up the 4th most passing yards of any defense, but it's still a good defense. And, I'm trying to pick at the numbers and say why the Titans should lose this game, but I don't know. Maybe it's the Mike Vrabel effect, but it's very difficult for me as a Titans fan and also somebody just struggling to find out why the Titans continue to win games.
Where's the public's money going on this?
Yeah, public is all over Green Bay. This line has gone from 3 to 3.5, but that's no shocker because nobody really likes betting on the Titans. Everybody always, says, oh, well, at some point the Titans are going to regress, right? So that is where the market is headed. But one thing the public really loves is Derrick Henry's rushing yard prop. It opened at 98.5, and now it's 105.5 yards over at BetMGM. So people are really hammering in that. And that's what the matchup suggests, because the Packers rank 28th against the run. So not a great matchup for going against the king in this rushing attack, where Derrick Henry, even if he's not going for a bunch of yards per carry, he's going to get the opportunities. We all know that, especially in a cold weather game, especially when it's a short week. We'll probably see a healthy dose of the run game. I don't think I'd be brave enough to take the under.
Just real quick, I want to add to that is just kind of explain to us ding-dongs like myself who don't understand gambling and betting about how, like, 3 to 3.5, how big that really is in the gambling world. Because, like, we hear that and we go 3, 3.5, or 3 to 4. It doesn't sound like a big number, but in the betting world, that's a big number.
Yeah, it's a key number, because think about it. If you think this is going to be a low-scoring game, which the total is 41, so odds makers are thinking this is a low-scoring game, it could be a field goal game. So if the Titans lose by 3 and you have the Titans plus 3, you still win your bet. And especially if you have the 3, or you would if you have the 3.5, you would win your bet. So that's why that 3.5 and the 3 is so important, as opposed to 2.5 is what this line opened up at was 2.5. Now it's 3.5.
The hook brings you back. That's what Blues Traveler said. Chelsea Messenger, our guest, at Chelsea Messenger, host of the Daily Tip.
Chelsea, I guess, is there any, underdog picks that you would, recommend going into this weekend in the NFL?
Yeah, there's a team trending in the right direction. I think that could be worth getting some points with, and that's the Steelers. They're getting 4 against the Bengals. I know the Steelers are an offense that's really hard to trust, but like the Titans, their defense keeps them in games, and especially with T.J. Watt back in the lineup, he is a night and day difference maker for the Steelers defense. We saw it last time out against the Saints, and even before he was injured. First game of the year for the Steelers, I believe, was against the Bengals, and that game ended 23-20, so only a 3-point difference. And again, we're talking about a low total game, total 41 points, so points are coming at a premium. Really like the Steelers at home. Traditionally, Mike Tomlin has been excellent as a home underdog. So I think the Steelers +4 is probably a pretty solid underdog play.
Can't wait to hear your analysis on this. That is the Cleveland versus Buffalo, and they're talking about it's going to be 6 foot of snow, and they may move the game. But really, snow, we all know, doesn't impact the game like it really can. But the wind. So I'm interested to see how does that affect the number on, how much one team or the other is favored.
Yeah, this game's really up in the air because they're not even sure if they're playing this game in Buffalo. There's some talk that they're going to move it somewhere else. So I think until you figure out where this game's being played, you probably shouldn't play anything on it. Because if there's a huge question mark like that, like why would you, play this until you know exactly where it's going to be? If they do play it in a snowstorm, probably the under, the obvious play. Total right now 42.5. If you think it's going to be very windy and pack down snow, obviously, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
Well, and then lastly for me, Eagles versus the Colts and Mr. Saturday playing on Sundays in his second game. Is he going to have a rude awakening in this one or no, he's going to keep his winning ways?
Well, I think so. Just because it's an Eagles team obviously looking for revenge, but this line's moved a lot. The look-ahead line was Eagles -8.5, but since the Eagles lost in primetime, and also it's a short week, it is shortened to 6.5. So we talk about key numbers. This is under that key number of 7. So I think I'd still lean towards the Eagles here. But the sabotage factor is Matt Ryan actually starting for the Colts, because when Sam Ehlinger was starting for the Colts, I don't think that was really a viable offense. And Matt Ryan, I know he throws the ball away a ton, but at least he moves the chains. So at least that you have a good passing offense that can get some first downs, and you open up the runway for Jonathan Taylor to actually have a decent game. Maybe the Colts can stay in it, because we saw the Colts contend with, remember that game against the Chiefs? It was a really ugly and sloppy game. But still, when you're getting 6.5 points, it's a lot of points. So that's probably what I'm staying away from.
Well, with just Messenger Daily Tip, National Sports Betting radio show.
Hey, how is Dallas favored in Minnesota versus the Vikings? Dallas is favored in Minnesota versus the Vikings. That surprised me.
How much, Chelsea?
Yeah, Dallas is laying 1.5. This spread has actually moved because it was Dallas -1. So there is money coming in on the Cowboys here. I think at some point the pendulum's probably going to swing the other way for the Vikings. They've been winners of really close games. Definitely saw it in full force last time out against the Bills. So eventually the luck probably isn't going to go in their favor. But the matchup I'd be targeting in this one is probably Dalvin Cook going against this Cowboys run defense that was eaten alive by Aaron Jones and the Packers. So the Cowboys are a good overall team, but for some reason can't stop the run. That is their weakness when it comes to an overall pretty solid defense. So look for Dalvin Cook to have a big game here.
All right, Tennessee, South Carolina this week. Obviously, the Vols need to keep winning, probably need some style points, although some people say that they don't, but it's probably not a bad thing as they try to continue to knock their way back into that top 4. Is there anything you like about this game?
Yeah, you talk about style points. Let's take a walk down Narrative Street. If you think that Tennessee needs to put on a show, and we know their offense can, and we saw in that Missouri game, it wasn't even Hendon Hooker that was putting up the points at the end. Their backup quarterback's even pretty solid. So I think I'd take the Tennessee team total over 44.5. They have hit this in 5 games this season, have hit 40+, and I think 4 of their last 5 games. So we know this offense can run and gun, one of the fastest tempo offenses in all of college football, going against South Carolina, which, it's not a great team. So you're right. Style points, I think the way you cash in on that is play a Tennessee team total over 44.5.
Chelsea Messenger, our guest, Daily Tip, and you can hear her updates right here on 104.5 The Zone. Typically, you hear her voice as soon as we finish every
And
Thursday.
sometimes before.
We heard it yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I guess, Chelsea, on the college front, Ohio State and Michigan both play each other next weekend. Do you think that against their opponents, Ohio State, I think Maryland and Michigan, Illinois, do you think they'll get caught looking ahead to that matchup down the road, or do you think they'll continue their winning ways?
I need to look at the spread at that game, but I don't know. I think that Ohio State is plenty good enough, and same goes for Michigan. I think that's a really interesting discussion. When you have Michigan plus 800 to win it all, I'm not sure. I haven't watched a ton of their games. But when we are talking about finding value in the college football futures market, I think you look at those last teams in, because right now it is pretty heavily favored towards Ohio State and Georgia. And then the rest of the teams, if you think there's somebody that can knock off one of the big dogs, I think that's where you find some value, whether it's TCU. I don't think Tennessee really can sneak in. I would love to see them in there. But maybe Michigan. I don't know. Haven't watched a ton of their games, but right now, plus 800, 8-1 to win the national championship, and also gives you some hedging opportunities if they do end up making it to the college football playoff.
Well, sticking to that, because I'm trying to figure out a way that Tennessee can get in. TCU versus Baylor at home, which is always going to be a tough game on the road for TCU. How do you see this playing out?
This line seems almost disrespectful, right? Like the TCU is only favored by 2.5 right now. It looks like 95% of the money is on TCU to cover against Baylor, and it looks kind of square, but I can't talk you off of it. Like, Baylor has been pretty feast or famine. Sometimes they look like a great team, but other times they look absolutely terrible. And TCU continues to improve, it seems, each and every week, and especially in the fourth quarter. So I go with TCU there, minus 2.5.
Curveball, last one, AFC East. That's the Bills, Jets, Dolphins, and Pats, Patriots. Who do you see potentially winning this as of now at the end? Because all the teams are in the playoff hunt right now.
Yeah, for a value play, let's go Dolphins plus 225. A team that has an amazing offense, putting up some of the best numbers with Tua and Jalen Waddle and also Tyreek Hill. Because right now the Bills are minus 190 to win the AFC East. There's just not a ton of value there. And for as good as the metrics are on the Bills, it just seems like, why not the Dolphins? Take a risk. You do the plus money there and get a little bit more return on your investment at plus 225. I think the Dolphins are the real deal. Clearly, the ownership is in it to win it, going out and getting Bradley Chubb to shore up that defense. And also Jeff Wilson's been a nice addition to the run game. So let's go Dolphins.
Dolphins ownership had to divert some attention from all the crazy stuff they've been doing down there.
Hey, it's working.
Chelsea, fantastic stuff. At Chelsea Messenger, host of the Daily Tip. Tell people, as you always do when you finish up, where can they find your program?
Yeah, just search the Daily Tip wherever you get your podcast. It's usually the first thing that pops up. And I tweet all my stuff at Chelsea Messenger if you want to follow me on Twitter. If you just search Chelsea, because there's not that many Chelseas in the world, usually the first thing that pops up as well. So as always, thanks for having me on.
Yes, ma'am. Great talking to you.
I just wanted to check on this one last thing. I saw you post something that you said you made up your bed today. So I just was that alluding to that you don't make up your bed usually typically in the morning?
I do it sometimes, but if I'm going to take a selfie, you got to make your bed, right?
No doubt about it.
That's the least amount of effort you can possibly put in. So, yes, I made my bed today.
Yeah,
there you go.
Way to have the courage to post from the bedroom.
Congratulations on making the bed. I will just say mine is not. Chelsea, we'll talk to you again soon.
Every day mine is made. What are you talking about?
Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Chelsea Messenger, our guest. All right, we got to hustle to this break. When we come back, what was the most interesting thing to me about the Titans game last week, and could it affect the game this week? I want to ask Blaine Bishop that next.
Oh.
Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. We got Ron Slay and Chelsea Messenger tweeting at each other now about how to make your bed and put the four corners away and all this stuff. We're bringing people together on the show. It's what we do.
Trying to educate people.
100%. Most interesting thing that happened to me and the Titans win over the Broncos. This happened on Earth in 2022. They ran it 23 times and passed it 36.
Oh, I would have bet money that never happened.
Oh, I would have bet.
They would have ran Derrick Henry into the ground till they couldn't not do it.
I thought they're going to run Derrick Henry 36 and pass less than 23. So Tannehill threw for 255 yards, couple touchdown versus the league's number one pass defense. So Derrick Henry had 32 carries versus the Texans. That was 2 games ago. But in the next 2 games total against the Chiefs and the Broncos, he had 36 total carries. 2 games. So what do you think happens tonight? Because they sort of said it. Well, they didn't sort of. They said it. Broncos did stuff to stop the run game, so we threw the ball. So if you're the Packers, you go like, hey, man, we just watched this Broncos film. We're going to do the exact same thing.
Well, you can't get some coaches.
Our version of it.
Right, version of it, right. So you can't get too much out of your scheme. But for whatever reason, I think it's their scheme more than anything else. Why they're not able to stop the run is kind of crazy, and they're ranked pretty low. So, rankings aren't everything. You can go into a game and say, hey, they're not good against the run statistically, and then they come in there and then they hold Henry to 50 yards. Right. Just like, the Broncos were ranked number 1 in pass defense, and we had a guy on the Titans named NWI who hadn't caught a pass in 3 consecutive games or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he has a career day. So what do stats mean to you? At the end of the day, it's about how guys perform week in and week out, play in and play out. So this is the best of the best. So yeah, you can lean on that a little bit and see if they've corrected some things, see if guys are going to play. It's a nationally televised game, so sometimes guys take risk more often than not because they want to get their name called on TV. And did you see me? You see me. I'm right here. Everybody saw me. All my family and friends saw me on TV trying to make a play when they're going outside of what their scheme says they should be doing. So it's always kind of interesting to kind of watch that. So I would lean on that. But the identity of the Titans is running the football, and then they'll let it play out, and then we're going to do whatever we can to win the game. And that's where I was excited about the Titans. He relented, and I think only reason why he did is because this what won the game against the Broncos. That drive right before half, and then him throwing the touchdown in the corner to NWI. They passed the ball almost all the way up on it. It was kind of, a 2-minute deal, type drive. And they said, guess what? They're doing everything they can to stop the run. We can pass on this team. And then they came out throwing the ball. And then Derrick Henry became more of a setup guy and play action pass and setting everything up. Passing game just worked to perfection. So it made me say, okay, they can throw the ball and be effective against the number 1 pass defensive team. Now, they were missing Simmons, their All-American safety. That's like, the Titans being without All-Pro safety without Byard. So they did have pieces missing, but still, the Titans were able to throw the ball, and they looked like they hadn't looked all season really throwing the football. So I was really encouraged by that. So I'm interested to see if they can continue that, or will they go back to being 50-50. What it tells me really in all of that, Vrabel is flexible. He wants to win than his style of play. So he'll do whatever it takes to win a game. So I'm cool with that because I was actually doubting if he would. Because he would always stay up. We're down by 14. Keep running the ball. Keep running the ball. Well, guess what? Those teams couldn't stop the run. Denver Broncos is a different case. They were stopping the run.
You mentioned that drive. Derrick Henry ran for 7 yards on the first play of the drive. It was a 13-play drive. Tannehill scrambled on one of the plays late in the drive. Every other play was a pass play. And that was a pass play where Tannehill just had to run.
Yeah, he had to run. That was the one he said that hurt.
Yeah. Afterwards, you and Mir sitting there, you go, oh, man, look at him. You could tell he was hurting, favoring his foot.
He was limping right after.
But it was one run play and 12 pass plays, although Tannehill ran out of one of them, but it was a pass play. I charted it. That's what they did.
Yeah, so that was shocking. But they figured out, hey, man, if we do a little bit some of the same things without being in the 2-minute, we can pass on these guys. So, because they thought that the Titans were going to go back and run the football. They just knew that they were going to say, we're just going to keep running it. Nope, they did not.
They did not there.
And that really won the game. That changed the game. It was 10-0 Broncos, and that made it 10-7 at half. That changed the whole perspective of the whole entire game to me. That's really what won the game. I know everybody always looks at the end of the game, but there's always plays throughout the game that you say, This determined the outcome of the game,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. They decided that, you know what, we can throw the football. Mm-hmm.
And
To beat this team, that's what we need to do.
And they did it. And I think Tannehill was 7-11 in the second half, 7 of 11 passing. They hit the one big trick play, and and the defense shut them out in the second half. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah, well,
They didn't run a play in the red zone. Did you know that?
was that it?
No, the Broncos did not run.
Oh, yeah, they didn't get close.
They ran the long busted play,
Right, yeah, Virgil.
kicked a field goal. They didn't run a play in the red zone.
Yeah, their offense was putrid. Their offensive line. Russell had some time at times. He just couldn't find people open.
Nope.
So, yeah, they did a great job. Russell, I don't care what anybody says. He just doesn't look the same. And I'm a Russell Wilson. I like the way he plays, and he did not look good, and he's looked like pretty much how everybody's saying he's been playing. So I can't tell if it's him or if it's the offense or he's just uncomfortable. He doesn't trust his receivers or his offensive line. But at the end of the day, nobody cares about that. He's not playing well. Sorry. He was throwing balls. They should have had like 3 picks. He was doing stuff like you think rookies would do. Like, why are you throwing that in the middle of the field late? Like, what are you doing?
Here's what we're doing. Second hour of the show, but we have to take a quick break in between. We'll even talk to Ben McKee in the next hour. We will continue to preview Titans and Packers as well tonight. Also, the Commandskins did something to the Eagles, and the Eagles did something about it. Instant reaction. They did something. The Titans still have to play the Eagles, so you're about to see this guy. We'll tell you who that guy is coming up next.
Okay. No one wants to go to the vehicle repair shop. It's like going to the doctor for an operation. The typical first reaction is, how do I know that I really need what they say I need? Well, sometimes you really wonder if you're getting a repair recommendation or you're making someone else's mortgage payment. Blaine Bishop here to tell you that people are tired of getting bamboozled. And if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of auto repair shops, come on over to Eurofix. Eurofix repairs everything European. So if you feel like you've been lied to or taken advantage of when it comes to auto repair, come and check out Eurofix. Eurofix will always tell you the difference between a recommendation and a must-do. Get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection at every visit. No appointment necessary. Just come when you want to come. And Eurofix also offers a free nationwide 3-year, 36-month warranty on all work. Plus a free rental car with reservation on every repair, so you're not stranded sitting around all freaking day. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, Monday through Friday, or you can just visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine said you.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Oh, man. It is not only Thursday, it is game day Thursday.
Woo! You see me, I get jacked up, man. I get pumped. Man. It just automatically just happens every time it's game day. I get lit. It just turns on. I can't even turn it off.
Well, this is big time. Titans went up to Green Bay and got it handed to them a couple of years ago.
I'm so insane. I went and watched that entire game.
What? You sought that out?
Yep. I wanted to see if they run the same offense. Yeah, that's just curiosity. That's just how I was as a player.
Oh, yeah. You would definitely been watching that film as a player.
Oh, they didn't want no parts of Dillon running the football and Jones. They ran right through the throat of them. Adoree Jackson, I think it might have been, if I can recall, his first time playing from his knee injury that he was having throughout that season, and he looked like crap. He was going against Devontae Adams, so think about that for a second. Coming off an injury, a knee injury, and you need to run. But they own. I think they beat the Titans 40-14 or some crazy number. But they ran through the Titans defense. Defense isn't what it is today, what it was then. But it was pretty clear. Aaron Rodgers just had a field day. They just didn't look good. They looked like we don't want to play in no snow. They started off well, but then as time went on, it was pretty clear that the Packers were going to dominate them. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. Not like that. Anyway. I think it's going to be a close game, low-scoring game. And to be honest, I know everybody's talking about the run game, and there will be part of it on both sides of the ball because, the Pack, they've had some success last game winning by running the football more than throwing. But I really believe the quarterbacks are going to determine this game. I think whatever quarterback makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win this game because ultimately both teams know that they want to run the football, whether they have success a lot or don't. It's going to come back to the quarterbacks. They got to make some key throws and pivotal times, and I think that's going to decide the game. So Tanny time versus Aaron Rodgers. So most people are going to put their money on Aaron Rodgers based off what I just said.
That game that you're talking about, the Titans lost 40-14. The Pack ran for 234.
Yeah, they didn't want no parts of the running game. Well, how much did Jones and Dillon have apiece?
I'm going to have to get my
Aaron
research team on that. I can find it. But
I tell you one thing. I had a lot of respect for old Dillon. I think it's A.J. Dillon from Boston College, I think. He has some thunderous styles. And he was at the end of the game. They didn't want no part to tackle him in that snow.
Well, the first time I saw him, I thought, is this Corey Dillon? The same name, look like him, fast, big.
Yeah.
It's just terrifying to think there's two of them in the universe.
Yeah, I thought he was going to start getting more carries, but then, in the next game or two, but they did.
Okay, you ready for this?
What did he have?
Dillon, 21 for 124. He averaged 2 touchdowns, 2 tugs. Aaron Jones, 10 for 94.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers ran for 19 yards in that game.
Yeah, he was scrambling around running, and he looked like, that's why you got the MVP. He was making precise throws to whoever, Lazard to, Devontae Adams. It was not a good day.
Do you guys remember when the Packers did not have a good run game for the longest?
If that happens, I'd be stunned.
I do remember that. I remember they had a receiver who had to play running back, number 89 for a while, when they just ran out of backs. This is a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, but that wasn't in this game.
This was not in that game, Bert.
No.
And they went like the longest amount of time without having a 100-yard rusher. Eddie Lacy finally broke it, and now look at them. Now they got 2 100-yard rushers.
Got 2 great ones.
Eddie Lacy from
Devontae Adams caught 11 balls in that game. 11.
How many TDs he had?
He had
for sure 2. 3, yeah. I was watching it just like, because at the end, I just started just letting it run. I wasn't, they were blowing them out. So
you'd seen enough at that point.
Yeah, I was like, dang, I didn't remember them just really getting thrashed like that. But, 40-14, that is a butt kicking. Guess, and Vrabel was the head coach. He sure was. Boy, I would have shown that film and I would have shown the highlights of that film and said, this is what y'all going up against. How are you going to respond? And then when you get in your individual meeting room, they dog cussing you. Because if you was on that team and they see you out there, you do not want to be watching that again. It bring back a whole bunch. You have nightmares. You just start saying, oh, man, that is not happening again. One thing about pro sports, the competitive edge and nature of people that play in those leagues is off the charts. It is off the charts because you're not going to have your best game every game. It's just not going to happen. The guys are too good at every level. I don't care what NBA, NHL, whatever you want. Guess what? That's not happening again. I promise you that. You thinking about it all week. He got me. Yeah, I brought my C game. He had his A, and I couldn't live up to it. So this week I'm about to get it back. And that's why it's so unpredictable on who's going to win. And it's a league of attrition. So whoever survives and is the healthiest at the end is the teams that win. Or the healthiest going into the game is the team that wins. Although everybody's banged up that's out there. To what extent of your injury is, you can do enough to play, but can you bring your A game week in and week out? And that's ultimately what I tried to do as a player myself. I'm trying to bring my best. In fact, I felt like I had no choice because my B game was I didn't have a B game, so I wouldn't know first round. I played all right. No, I had to have my best at every moment of time on that field, and that's what you were going to get. So if I had a bad day, that dude was just he beat me physically. That's the only way I could live with it. And he jumped over my head, caught a pass, and did a backflip and all this. That's going to happen every now and then. But guess what? I dare him to throw that crap again. I dared him. And that's the attitude of a pro athlete. I freaking dared him. Watch what happens.
Tell you something else Vrabel could show them from that game. Aaron Rodgers went 21 for 25.
In the snow.
Now, his thumb's a little Yankee right now.
Yeah, you're right. That's why I said he was precise. He was MVP. Boy. Aaron Rodgers. It was like it was a video game. It was like, oh, man, this is fun. We get to play in the snow. Yeah. It won't be any snow. It's not supposed to snow, is it?
Chance of flurries.
Okay.
The people I saw, Teron Davenport and some others who were up there tweeting about chances of snow for this game. I don't think anything like this or what they're expecting in Buffalo, but it was a noticeable amount of snow in 2020 when the teams played.
But definitely they had to sweep the field and everything else to get the lines and everything. But this game is supposed to be super cold though, right? It's
in
the 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's supposed to be 19 at kickoff.
Okay. That's a hard no.
Hey, these cold games. Say what you want. Those things took some years off my life. That's why. Yeah, I always. Yeah, those games there, man. Especially a physical game. Especially the Titans are gonna be physical. So Green Bay doesn't bring the physicality, they're gonna get beat. So man, those cold games when it's physical, it's rough sledding the next day. So I'm glad they'll have, regardless win, lose or draw, 10 days to come back to the next game.
Looking just a teeny tiny bit ahead, Titans' upcoming schedule, they get that little mini buys you're talking about after the Green Bay game. They have the Bengals here. Then they have to go to the Eagles. And we've been talking about this like, the Eagles look beatable. Command Skins ran it right down their throat. Well, today the Eagles like, okay, we're going to put Ndamukong Suh in that hole that the Command Skins ran through. They signed Ndamukong Suh today. Mm-hmm. They trying to fix problems as they happen. Yeah,
so it makes you wonder if the injury, and I know they got Fletcher Cox, but the Davis kid from Georgia, I know he missed that game, the Command Skins, and if he was just that big of a, missing piece that they need another big body and he's going to be out maybe for some length of time, or they realize we need rotation. Even when he comes back, we need to make sure we got ourselves covered if we're trying to get to the Super Bowl. And all their moves right now seem like they're trying to go all chips in. Even the trade for Quinn for, what was it, a fourth round from the Bears? I mean, like he had no stats and numbers, not at least this year. I think he had 1 sack. The previous years he did well, but, so they're trying to make moves and have depth pieces in case of injuries or somebody gets nicked up and everything. So got to applaud them for that. But, they look beatable in that game, especially if you're talking about from a Titans perspective where they ran the football, the Command Skins. Titans said, we're going to run right down it. Vrabel watched any piece of that game. He probably maybe watched a quarter because he was preparing, for the next game. He probably looked and said, okay, I think we're going to be all right. And he said, let's move on. I'm going to go watch film on the team we play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's exact, because that's what I would be doing. I'm going to get a jump start. I'm going to watch a little bit of this game. Know we play them in 3 or 4 weeks or whenever it may be. See what they look like. And I mean that's how they're going to play us, but just get a little edge to see how guys act. Then you can grab something out of that. you're not watching film and in detail, but you want to have it on. So, yeah. But right now, it's Green Bay and what's the uniforms? I know you're a big uniform guy. What is it for both teams? I know they're wearing all white. What do they call it?
All white versus all navy. Color rush.
Color rush.
It goes back to those Thursday night games that I called color rash when the Titans wore baby blue and the Jags wore baby poo. Remember that matchup?
I did
where
not
they were both terrible and had to get a national game, so it'd be Thursday night.
You know what I called it? The Titans look like Smurfs.
They did look like pajamas because even the feet were the same color. Looked like feet. Here's what the NFL, they've blown this for years. Throwback Thursday. Let teams wear throwbacks every Thursday. Look at Bert. My man knows that I'm right. I used to tweet that at the NFL every week.
I'm with you, man, because imagine how many cool there are very few teams that don't have cool throwbacks. Like the Bucks instantly come to mind. Let them wear those creamsicles when they play on Thursday.
It'd be magical. I mean, I'm all in.
I want throwbacks that you have never seen before.
Well, they'll throw back to nothing.
But I know that's what I wanted to be. Guess what? All eyeballs would be on the screen. Guess what? If the Titans came out with a red helmet, red jersey,
You want the red jersey.
pants,
You got
you'll be
cheated
like,
out of
what?
that.
That's lit. Or mix it with the baby blue helmet. Ooh.
Well, the Oilers wore baby
Yeah,
blue
see, that's what I'm
helmets.
talking about. Mix it up. Do just maybe you don't call it throwback. You call it, I don't know, give it a name that where you just kind of creative. Maybe a fan created this color type jersey, mix and match or whatever, however you want to do it, and you wear it on a Thursday night.
Like
every
unvaulted jerseys. Jerseys that have been in the vault. We're taking them out of the vault for Thursday night.
Hit the vault on Thursday night. Guess what? That would also make more people, NFL, listen to me, Sheriff, tune in. And that's more moolah, not only for the NFL, but for actually the individual teams, because that's marketing and branding, and you can go sell more jerseys. Guess what? Somebody be walking around with a red Henry jersey. Woo! Or whatever color y'all mix, baby blue. I'm talking about baby blue.
3HL tweeted a red Blaine Bishop jersey from their show the other day.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, you need to check
Oh,
Twitter.
yeah, this dude showed up asking if you could sign
The
it.
red Blaine
I don't know
Bishop
if they took it for him to get you, but
jersey.
Well, they ain't told me that. I guess they thought I'd be watching because I do typically pay attention to 3H. I must have missed it, though.
We'll find it on their Twitter. We got to find Ben McKee. He's going to join us next. We'll talk with the man from Go Vols 247 after this.
You got baby orange. in his division.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Oh, man. Well, Ace Frehley. I appreciate that, Robert. You know how to make a man smile in here playing a little cut off the Ace Frehley solo record. I don't know if Ben McKee has any solo records, but he's probably breaking records with his articles at GoVols247. Ben, how in the world are you doing today, man? Is it snowing or anything over there in Knoxville? Because I know the weather has been too cold over here.
No snow on this side of the state, but I agree. It is far too cold, and I despise the cold. Anything below 60 is too cold for me. I am a wimp when it comes to cold weather, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
So you're doing the parent thing now. You drag the baby out in this weather to go, to see grandma and them or do anything. You got to cover the baby, everybody. There's just a lot that goes into traveling with the baby in cold weather.
Yes, I learned that this morning and a couple of minutes ago, picking him up from daycare and getting back into daddy daycare to finish the afternoon. So I certainly understand what you mean.
Does, again, Ben McKee, at Ben McKee 14, GoVols247. Ben, does Tennessee need style points in its wins as they close out the season to keep making their CFP case?
I don't think so. I think they need help elsewhere. I think that's what they need. Sure, it's nice, but to me, it's more like a cherry on top, and instead of actually making the banana split or the sundae, they're going to need TCU to lose a game, and it's weird. There's only 3 weeks left, but there's still so much football left to be played, and so many different circumstances that Tennessee is paying attention to. Obviously, last week Oregon losing to Washington, that helps because that's one less team Tennessee has to worry about. But they're also looking at TCU, and boy, would it be great for Baylor to knock them off this weekend. And I think if that were to happen, I think Tennessee's in the playoffs at that point. But then there's also the Ohio State-Michigan match coming next weekend, and I think a lot of people are just assuming that the loser of that football game does not make the college football playoffs.
But if it's close.
That's exactly where I was going. I'm not completely sold on that. I think if it's a close football game, I think that Tennessee's going to have to sweat it out on that selection Sunday, so to speak. I think if Michigan were to lose close, honestly, I think Michigan or Ohio State losing close, I think Tennessee's resume is better than both of those teams with a close loss to one another and should get in over both of those teams. But you just never know, and you're going to be nervous on that Sunday when the playoffs are being announced. And then there's LSU. If LSU runs the table and knocks off Georgia in the SEC championship game, I do think Tennessee deserves to be in over LSU at that point. But again, you'll be nervous, and then there's USC if USC runs the table. So I think they need help elsewhere. That's what I think that they need.
Boy, and like you said, Ben, it is nuts how little but how much college football there still is. Like all the stuff that's left is just high quality, huge matchups, fantastic stuff. That's what makes this so special, man. College football, nothing like it. And Ben McKee covers it all for GoVols247.
Well, have to start off with what are your thoughts and what has been some of the fans' thoughts on the orange helmets? Because I don't remember since I've been here in '97 them ever wearing orange helmets. Have they worn orange helmets before or later down early in the road? Or
yes, way back in the day. I can't even tell you what year, but I believe it was one of those early Tennessee football teams. And yeah, I agree. I really like them. And I'm glad that they're wearing them against South Carolina rather than one of the big three opponents.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think the traditional unis should always be worn against Alabama, Georgia, Florida. But in these other games, as you've seen this season, LSU on the road breaking out the smoky grays and Kentucky wearing the all black. I'm all for alternate uniforms in that instance. And I love the UT Martin week when they broke out the sleeves and the socks of the colors of the Lady Vols. And they were doing that to honor Title IX. But I think that'd be cool to do once a year for one of those UT Martin type games. I thought it was a good look and a tip of the cap to Pat Summitt and everything the Lady Vols have done over time. So I like them. I really do. I think they look sweet. I'm real interested to see what they look like on Saturday. I think that I would have worn the orange breeches with them, as Trey Smith would say, but I think that's the only thing I'm kind of holding out on is how does it look with all white? Obviously, it's something that we haven't seen before, so maybe it's going to take some adjusting to. But it seems like the fans are really excited about it and really do like the helmets. So I think they're serving dual purposes. It gets the players excited. Josh Heupel talked about that today. It gets recruits excited, absolutely, and also I think it gets the fans excited as well, because I think they're doing a great job of striking that balance of wearing the traditional uniforms, but also mixing in a little new age with it.
No doubt about it. For sure, winning cures all. We're on with Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. I want to talk about, talking about fans and how loud they are in Columbia, South Carolina. They had some false starts there at Georgia. Had they done any extra work there as far as from the coaching's perspective on trying to help the guys out when running this offense, that they can do a little bit better job and maybe the crowd noise won't be as much of a factor?
I asked Josh Heupel that this morning, and he said no. They did not install anything new or come up with a way to do things differently. It's just a matter of execution, and that's been the theme from the players as well and the coaches. Josh Heupel's talked about that numerous times. The assistant coaches have, the players have, ever since that Georgia debacle where they did not handle the noise well whatsoever. They've all communicated that it was simple. Execution. It wasn't anything that they weren't necessarily doing or they were doing things incorrectly in terms of their assignment. It was just that they weren't doing it the right way and not doing it the way that they're taught. And it's just simple execution, and that's what Josh Heupel said today. So it doesn't sound like he changed anything up or installed anything new unless he's just keeping it a secret to throw off South Carolina, which you would certainly understand. But it seems like it's just simple execution, and I'll be real curious to see if they can handle the noise. I thought that they would be able to handle the noise at Georgia. I didn't buy into the talk all Georgia week that it wasn't going to be loud. That just did not make sense in my head, considering Tennessee was viewed as the number one team in the college football playoff rankings that week, and Georgia's the defending national champs. It's sold out. It's a big-time college football game. So it just didn't make sense to me that a place that sits 90,000 people was going to be quiet. But I did think that because there are so many veterans on the offense, I thought they'd be able to handle it, and they didn't. So that is something that I'm interested to see this Saturday. And Josh Heupel said they just need to do the ordinary things well, execute the ordinary things. And I was kind of surprised that he flat out said that he anticipates them handling the noise perfectly fine this weekend.
Well, we all know Hendon Hooker's in the Heisman conversation, but should Jalen Hyatt, since isn't he from South Carolina? I'm trying to think, did they even recruit him? But should he be in the conversation as well?
Yes, he should be. I put him in my Heisman conversation immediately after the Alabama game, saying that at that point I thought Hendon had asserted himself as the front runner for the Heisman at that time. And that not only had that happened in that football game, but I thought Jalen Hyatt entered his name into the mix as well. So receivers obviously do not win that award very frequently, but I do think he is worthy of an invite. I mean, you look at some of the stats, and it's silly. I mean, even this weekend, he has more touchdown catches than South Carolina's receivers. And no, South Carolina did not recruit the Columbia, South Carolina native, and Jalen Hyatt has made it pretty clear, about as clear as you can make it without giving the other team bulletin board material, that he has this one circled and that he's ready to go. Shane Beamer's gone out of his way multiple times this week to let everybody know that it was not his coaching staff that did not offer Jalen out of high school. It was the previous staff, but I don't think Jalen Hyatt cares who the coaching staff was when they did not recruit him, and I think he's going to have something to say about that this weekend, regardless of who the current staff is.
Yep, he's just going to fly by and just do a drive-by. One more question for me, and that is, and I just thought about this. You tell me, has the East in the SEC caught up to the West as a unit because of the success of Tennessee?
I want to say yes, but I don't know that I can because of what Florida is currently.
Okay.
I don't know that there's a bona fide third team in the East. I'd be willing to throw Kentucky in there, but they've been disappointing this season, in my opinion, even by Kentucky football standards. I know it's Kentucky football, but Mark Stoops has built a really good football program up there, and I've been kind of surprised to see the lack of play along the offensive line. And Will Levis is an NFL talent. I don't think he's a first-round talent, but he's certainly second, third, fourth-round pick somewhere in there. And you would not know that by the way they perform, as many people in Nashville know after this past weekend. So I don't think that I can say yes. I don't think they're very far behind, especially if Billy Napier can get Florida going here rather quickly. But you look at what obviously Alabama is doing, and I know it kind of feels like the sky is falling for Alabama fans, but they have 2 losses, and each were on the final play of the game on the road to LSU and Tennessee, who are in contention to make the college football playoff. So that's still a good 10-win Alabama team, and Ole Miss is having a great year. LSU is obviously having a great year. I've been surprised by A&M falling off, but I still think that as of right now, with Florida not being where it should be, that the West has a little more depth than the East.
There you have it. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247.
Ben, you were kind of breaking all this down. It's funny. I didn't know Blaine was going to ask you that, but I did a hit with a crew in Jacksonville, and we got to talking about just some SEC-related stuff, and they were asking me about the when Vanderbilt beating Kentucky, and I said, think about this, guys. I said, if I'm going to leave you with anything, Vanderbilt has a better record right now than Texas A&M in college football. Think about that.
Speechless. It leaves me speechless, is what it does. And, I mean, there was a similar stat last weekend for the A&M Auburn game that both of those teams entering the game had lost 5 in a row. And that was not really something that was on your radar back in the off season. Maybe it wasn't too surprising if you said Auburn would have entered that game with 5 straight losses. But A&M, just what a debacle this season has been for Jimbo. And I hope for Jimbo's sake that A&M fans have not gotten a hold of that statistic, because if I'm an A&M booster or an A&M fan, hearing that stat may make me fire him on the spot right then and there.
Well, they have to sell a lot of barrels of oil to pay him off, that's for sure. Do you know what's going on with the running back commit Will Stallings, who decommitted? I saw Go Vols 247 had that story and wanted to ask you.
Right, just kind of parted ways.
Okay.
I think that was a mutual decision on Stallings' part and Tennessee's part. They're after some other running backs and looking for somebody that might be better suited in short yardage situations. And I believe Stallings has had somewhat of an up and down senior season, and part of that was transferring from a school in the Las Vegas area out to California. But that was more of a mutual parting of ways, and Tennessee has its eyes on some other running backs.
Okay. Well, I know that sometimes happens in that game. Ben McKee at Ben McKee 14, Go Vols 247, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, curveball here. It's going to put you your knowledge to all the players that you think potentially can make one of the first 3 teams as far as all SEC. What players?
A lot of players.
Yep.
I think the Hendon Hooker, Stetson Bennett for first-team quarterback will be a nice debate. I think he's having a better season than what people realize. I don't think Stetson gets enough credit for the job that he does as a quarterback, simply because he's a former walk-on. I think that is sticking with him far longer than it should. But I also think that Hendon's meant more to his team than Stetson has. Not trying to diminish how much Stetson Bennett means to Georgia, but Georgia has far more talent along the offensive line and possibly at receiver and at running back to where I would say life is a little easier on Stetson maybe. So that'll be an interesting conversation. I think Darnell Wright has had a tremendous season. Cole Kubelik, who knows SEC football players just about as better than anybody, certainly knows offensive linemen better than anybody in college football. I heard him say recently that Darnell's had such a great season to where he's in the conversation to be possibly the first tackle off of the board in the upcoming
Oh, wow.
NFL draft. So I think Darnell Wright's going to be on the first team. You look at Jalen Hyatt; he is a shoe-in. You can't write his name in any quicker. Those would be the first team selections off the top of my head. But offensively speaking, I mean, I think you can make a case for just about everybody but the running backs. And I think Jabari Small has had a fine season, but I don't know that his statistics are good enough to land on one of those teams because he's kind of been banged up at times with the shoulder. And Jalen Wright hasn't had enough carries, I don't think, either to put his name on it. But Darnell Wright, I think he's a first-team SEC offensive lineman, but the rest of those guys, especially the interior, Jerome Carvin, Cooper Mays, Javonte Spraggins, they all should be on the second or third team.
Gotcha.
They've had a tremendous season. And Mincy and Crawford have kind of been inconsistent at left tackle and kind of been swapping in and out. So I don't see either of those two. And then defensively, Omari Thomas needs to be on one of those teams. He's had a great season. Jeremy Banks has had a solid season. I could see him sneaking in on the third team. But those are the two guys on defense that pop up at the top of my head. And Byron Young's had a great year as well. He deserves to be on one of those teams as well.
I guess real quick, lastly, you just talked about Thomas, Tillman, injury updates on any players that may possibly play or not play?
Right. The ones in question are Mari Thomas and Cedric Tillman. Tillman last week seemed to just not play because of the wet conditions. It was raining all morning. And if I remember correctly, it was raining the day before as well. So the weather conditions weren't great, and he's obviously coming off of a high ankle sprain that cost him several weeks, and that seemed to be more cautious than anything. But Josh Heupel said today that he's been with them all week, which I believe that means he's been practicing all week, and I think that he would play barring a last-second decision in warm-ups. And then Amari Thomas is a little more vague. He's been dealing with a shoulder injury for several weeks now and seemed to have really felt it this past weekend against Missouri. So I think he's more up in the air. But Josh Heupel said they'll make a decision on both of those guys tomorrow, and part of that is obviously Josh Heupel avoiding telling the media so South Carolina does not find out prior to the game. But the only one other than that is Jabari Small, who's been dealing with that shoulder on and off all year. But Jerry Mack said earlier this week that he's been practicing all week and he'll be good to go on Saturday.
Cool.
Ben, you're always good to go for us, man. We appreciate the time today. At Ben McKee, 14, Go Vols 247. Go check on that baby and make sure everybody's all right at Daddy Daycare. We'll talk to you soon.
I will. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great weekend.
See you,
Appreciate
Ben
it,
McKee, Go Vols 247. All right, we come back. We'll wrap things up. Look ahead to Packers and Titans tonight. A stat that totally blew my mind when I saw it. I'll share that next. Blaine and
is
Mickey
this?
104.5 The Zone. What?
Who is this? This is what I requested, right?
You requested warrant?
Warrant. Somebody got a warrant. Watch this. Somebody got a warrant for your arrest there, Robert?
Hey, they got expunged. I shouldn't have one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this dude is no longer with us.
Oh, is
Janie
it?
Lane. No,
Is it Janie Lane?
he had a rough ending.
Wait,
He was on top of the world, and they had a song called Cherry Pie that was a big hit, and they were like the big hit of their record label. And he said the next time they put out a record, he had a meeting with the head of the label, and behind that guy, behind his desk was, I think he said,
fish tank.
it was either an Alice in Chains poster or it was a Nirvana poster. I can't remember. It was one or the other. And he said, I left that meeting thinking, well, our career's over. And that dude, rest in peace, Janie Lane. Hopefully not rest in peace, Titans' ability to win tonight in Green Bay. They are ready to play the Packers. And before
do
we
get
talk
any?
about that at all, Bert says I got to give something away.
Oh, okay. But we won't find out who's dressing this or who's not dressing or not. No, not this.
No,
too
we
soon.
should not this soon. It'll be an hour and a half before the game, so it'll be 6 o'clock, I guess, when the inactives come out. But first, caller 5. Here's your chance to win Smashville tickets to see the Preds host the Islanders. This is tonight, so if you want to go see hockey tonight and watch football on your phone, I guess you could do that in Bridgestone Arena. 615-737-1045. Represent your university at the Preds game on November 17th. Buy a special college night ticket and receive a co-branded hat. Visit nationalpredators.com/college nights to attend. Preds been on a little bit of a roll. Won a couple games in a row. UC Soros looks like UC Soros. And you could be right there with them tonight and have a big time. Caller 5-615-737-1045 will get you the tickets. Yeah, I continue to check like a couple of Green Bay beat writers. There's no news. They've got
Randall Cobb, I think is going to be up.
Yeah.
He's been out 4.5 weeks or something with some injury.
Remember, he got hurt and like cried leaving the field. He thought that's it. I'll never play again. Well,
I think he had a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, and here he is back again. Elton Jenkins and Bakhtiari are kind of the two guys I'm most interested in. They were both questionable. They didn't practice this week, but at least one of the guys I saw from Green Bay who was kind of speculating on things said, look, these guys miss practice sometimes, but they still play.
Right.
What, Bakhtiari?
Oh, Rainey's son was on there too as well.
Yes, a guard on their team.
From Michigan. Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, I remember we talked about him a little bit in the draft, and solid player.
Yeah.
Dad was a beast.
Well,
human.
he's a guard, so I could say this. That means he's not a better athlete than his dad. His dad played tackle. Now, in this modern era, maybe his dad would probably be a guard, I don't know, athletically, but his dad was 6'7". He actually is the person who called me for the uniform policy because he works for the National Football League and now not only a former player, but also a former senator. I think that's what he was. I think something like that.
Oh, he's big time, man, and big as you said. He's a
big man.
A mountain of a human.
Yeah. He choked. He slam choked me when I was in Philly.
Okay.
I told him don't ever do that again because if you want to have some more children, they will not exist. And he looked at me and said, "Don't be coming up here like that."
Okay.
I said, "Hey, they said I gotta go 100%. I only go 80% in practice, I said, but not on my side." He did, man. He grabbed me by my neck, and I was like, hey. I stopped in my tracks. Like, stop that. You're joking me.
Yeah.
Bro. Hey, I got you.
Packers being the Packers, you think about the Packers scoring all these points. I know they struggled offensively this year, but do you know how much they've struggled offensively? Now, I hope they don't fix this tonight because they scored a season high last week against Dallas in overtime.
Against supposedly a good defense.
A really good defense.
Uh-huh.
They scored a season high 31 points last week. The Packers the Titans average 18.4 points per game. The Packers average 18.5. They only passed the Titans because of what they scored last week. And everybody around here is ready to, throw their hands in the air about Downing. They got the same offensive scoring as the Packers.
And it's worse because they got an MVP type player running their offense.
2 straight MVPs.
Yeah.
And that guy.
Yeah.
They average the same scoring as the Titans.
A lot of it is because they've having some dropsies, and then they caught them in that game. So I'm hoping their hands are frozen, and they have some dropsies there in Lambeau.
And the rookie even dropped a couple before he caught the he caught the 3 touchdowns last week. Had a couple of key drops, and it's like, it's done. They were 14 points down in the fourth quarter and about to go 3-7, and they found a way to win that game.
I just hope Aaron goes back to being Aaron as far as what he was doing beforehand.
Yes.
Hey, man, can I catch the ball? Huh? You said I can't catch? Yeah, that's what we saying.
Well, hopefully the Titans can catch this win tonight. 3HL, they'll get you all updated and ready to rock and roll ahead of kickoff, and we'll tell you all about what happened tomorrow as we recap this rascal.
But in the meantime,
And in between time,
peace.